Nochmal herzlich willkommen auf der Most Wanted Music 2021. Mein Name ist Pamela Owusu-Brenja. Ich bin hier heute der Host und jetzt heiße ich auch mal die Online-Gäste willkommen. Ich habe euch ein bisschen vernachlässigt in den letzten 2 Stündchen, aber ja, freut mich, dass ihr alle so zahlreich erschienen seid. Genau, wir kommen zur dritten Session, Rights and Royalties, Simplify your process, Maximize your income. Ein sehr interessantes Thema, wichtig, glaube ich, für alle, gerade auch in der Zeit, wo sehr viele Live-Auftritte nicht möglich waren. Ich freue mich umso mehr, die Gästinnen noch von MusicHub GmbH hier willkommen zu heißen. 2 fehlen noch, aber ich glaube, die sind gerade angekommen. Ja, super. Hi. Super. Genau. Wir haben Maïa Heidling, Ariane Petschow, Florian von Heuer, Sascha Lazimbat und Niklas Jorgensen. Genau, und jetzt beginnt der Workshop. Viel Spaß.
Danke, Pamela. Before we start, I would like to find out, is everybody a German speaker in this room? Because we had the presentation downstairs in English, so we might as well continue the workshop in English. Yeah, that makes sense? All right.
English.
As you heard in the introduction, I'm Sascha. I'm the co-founder of a digital distribution company called Zevolution.
Hello.
We distribute some of the major German artists like the Ärzte, but are also very active in a lot of different genres, including electronic music, with labels like Pampa Records, Get Physical, Soul. Zevolution is part of the group of GEMA, the German Music Copyright Collection Societies, since 2019. And today I'm actually here in my capacity as CEO of MusicHub. MusicHub is a joint project of GEMA with Zevolution. It's a digital platform. And this session is supposed to be a workshop. So it's really about enabling you and finding out what you want to learn about and how we can maybe answer some of your questions. So I think what we would like to do is give you just a short presentation of what MusicHub currently is, so that you have a little bit of an image in your head, and then really get the mics into your direction and find out what are the questions around the topics of rights and royalties that you might have that we could discuss today. And I guess for that to take part would also be interesting to also find out from you, what are you? Are you artists? Are you managers? Are you label owners, publishers? So if I could maybe see a couple of hands. Who's an artist in the audience? Quite a few artists. Who's a manager? Managers? Label owners? Any? So a double kind of role that you have? Yeah. All right. That's very interesting, because what we're doing is really playing with all of those different roles in the music industry.
Are the other mics enabled? Next question to the. Is this working?
This one? No.
Okay. Yeah. So for online, not sure if online is hearing me now. I have no feedback. So same thing for people online. Would like to get some feedback from you. If same question here, and maybe somebody can feed us back the information. Who is attending online, and what are you? And okay, so it's on site. Okay, cool. Okay, anybody attended the session downstairs? No. Okay, 1. Cool. Okay. Okay, then let's jump into a summary, probably.
Yeah, let me start by just explaining very shortly what MusicHub is and is supposed to be. It's a digital platform for artists. Our aim is to enable artists to fully realize their creative potential. So we want to offer tools that will help you as an artist to really support every step of your creative process, from the production and ideation process to the distribution, spreading, marketing, right up to the monetization and the actual collection of royalties and monies. So this is the big vision for MusicHub. We have a very, for us, already tired metaphor that we use. We talk about the Swiss Army knife for musicians, where we want to have a central location for artists to store all of your data, your songs, your artwork, all of your metadata, all of the information around your productions and your creative work, your lyrics. And with this Swiss Army knife concept, we want to enable you to use that data and to bring it to all the right places where you would need it. The first part of this concept that we've launched with last year is actually to allow artists to upload their music, artwork, and metadata, and use MusicHub to distribute their releases to the most important DSPs out there. So to Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Deezer, Napster. We added a couple of social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok recently. And I would now hand over the mic, virtually speaking, to Niklas, who's part of our customer support team, who's also a rights expert and who will give you a quick guided tour of how this actually works in MusicHub right now.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Can we get the presentation back real quick? Wonderful, thank you. All right, so again, speaking of our integration with GEMA, the one really nice thing is we can log in with our good friend Alan's GEMA credentials, and then there we go. So we're starting out on the release page. I'm going to go ahead and delete this draft. And there we go. So on the first step, that's where you get the most general metadata that you'll need to enter for it. Artist name, version, title of the release, whether it's a single, EP, or something else. And of course, genre is always important. We went with Neo Soul. I'll get to that a little bit later. Next up is the artwork. Right here, just a very small thing, but it does come up a lot. This is the C line that will appear on the streaming platforms. So if you are wanting it to be your band name, enter it there, but also clear that and get a license for that. And then here for the year, really important and also usually inconsistent, is it is due with the year in which it was released, not the year the artwork was created, whether that was 10 years ago. It's all about the year in which it actually goes live. The most important one here, sorry, I'm going to be running through this a little bit quickly because I think we're short on time, but the most important one here is actually all the metadata that you'll be entering on track level. From title, the language of the track title, language of the lyrics. Again, 1 second, we're going to change that to Neo Soul. Perfect. And then again, whether it contains explicit content, and especially important here is the ISRC code. The ISRC code is extremely important for tracking the actual sound recording and getting properly paid out. So please don't use one ISRC code for 3 different songs or use 3 different ISRC codes for one song. It immediately defeats the purpose of an ISRC code. And then as you scroll down, you can add all the different main artists. If we want to have a feature here, we're going to go ahead and add our colleague Marco. Marco, there we go. And this, if it's a single, it has to match all the metadata on the first step. Just a small thing to notice, otherwise you will get an immediate rejection. Another bit that we're looking at, that we're doing right now, is that you can also have the contributors. So I think Florian was talking about them earlier in the last one, the session musicians. This isn't currently actually accepted by the DSPs, but they are very much going the direction of taking more and more metadata, and for us, we want to have as much metadata as possible so that should they change that, we can just do it through a simple redelivery. We don't have to go to you, get all that new information, and send it out. And actually, in fact, I believe it's about 2/3 of the songs distributed every day to Spotify, which is now about 70,000, don't have enough metadata to actually get all the contributors paid out, whether that's the session musicians, or next, which is very important to us because of our ties to GEMA, the authors and publishers. For this, please have it be consistent. It really does make a big difference. So if it's been registered at GEMA, please make sure it's all matching. And if it hasn't been registered at GEMA, also please do that. And if not, we're going to have maybe something interesting in a couple of months that will help you out there. If you're not a member of GEMA or a similar collecting society, highly recommend it. A, you get a nice deal with us, but B, also you do get a second stream of income for all the streaming of your music. What you'll normally get through the distributors is for the master recording, and then there's still the publishing side. So highly encourage that. That's also what we collect here, the master rights owner and the publishing rights owner. Next, we're going to go ahead and skip that a little bit. We can select here all the different major DSPs. We're always going to be adding more of them. The latest two that we've added are TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook, because we were very aware that these in the last year and a half have become extremely important in the music industry and for artists to be discovered. It's a nice little marketing trick. We're going to set the date for the Friday, just like the industry standard, and hopefully get a nice feature from Somewhere Soul on Instagram. And then on the final page, you get a nice little summary of everything that we have done so far. The EAN you can't bring, unfortunately, but we will automatically assign one free of charge. Again, if you don't have an ISRC code, we will automatically assign one. And that is it from the release flow. I'm going to take you quickly to two other sections we have, which is the tracks page. This is where if you're working on a release in general, but you don't have maybe all the tracks ready, you can go here, start getting them all prepared before you actually have the release ready. And then lastly, back to clean, consistent metadata, the balance area, and then go through here. You can download the detailed royalty reports. Go ahead and open this real quick. 1 second. Yeah. So as you see, I think one of our good friends in Portugal has been streaming the track recently, and apart from us, it's probably been us in the office. I do recommend Old 80s track. It is a bit of a bop. But as you can see, it's all tied directly to the ISRC code. So it is really important not to use multiple ones. It does make it all a lot cleaner and easier to follow. And lastly, then you can also head over to the stats page, get a nice little breakdown of how it's been doing recently, which I think for poor Alan has been taking a little bit of a hit in the last 30 days. Okay, 39 streams. We're all right. But yeah, that's the quick demo of the platform. We also do have a booth just below. I'll be there later on. The rest of us will be there later on. And we're more than happy to help you with any of this stuff. And lastly, if you do have any questions, you can just go here. And then we say, hello, I need some help. Almost. We see Marco has 20 minutes to get back to us. I think he'll get back before then. But apart from that, you can always just send us an email as well. And yeah, we'll try to get back pretty quickly.
Yeah, so challenge for us when preparing this session was then we thought it might be half hybrid, a bit digital, a bit presential. So we said, okay, let's first find out who is in the room, who actually attended the first session, and then we give a quick demo here. Now it's actually a moment for you to ask the big questions you have about this business, and then we might get into a next conversation. Please, my mic to you. Just in case this is recording.
Hi, thank you very much for the information. My first question would be if this information from session musicians that is being put in the platform is being transferred to GFOL. And if this, or we still need to do then this registration GFOL, how does that work actually?
Yeah, that's exactly why we're already enabling artists to fill in those fields, because this is really the idea behind MusicHub, to allow the connection to all of these different entities that if you properly want to maximize your income and tap into all of your revenue streams, that you need to deliver this information to. And everything that you've seen was actually developed together with 1,200 beta testers out of the GEMA membership over the course of the last year. So we really tried to listen to the artists and talk to the artists and find out what do they want, what do they need, and what is like the first thing, the most important thing that they want to have. So the first thing that we did was create this, digital distribution capability that, of course, is comparable to, other platforms on the market, from DistroKit to TuneCore. But really, we want to go beyond that. And, Nick, you are already referring to this. What we're currently working on is that in the same flow of typing in information, you can register your work in the GEMA Works database without having to, type in the data twice. You can just do it one time and then export it into, a different kind of database. And the next step is to actually go into the area of neighboring rights, where, of course, you will, as a DIY artist, be like the record label royalty participant. You might also be, if you're a DIY artist, be a featured musician, but everybody who was in the studio with you, who helped you, even if they're not a royalty participating artist, they are still participants on this recording, and they have a claim to actually get their credit and be able to collect royalties from the neighboring rights societies. So that's why we already have these fields that you've seen, and it's actually one of the points high up on our list, and we actually met with GVL on Monday to discuss this. This is really the idea behind it, to really minimize the administrational task for an artist or their managers, and really, with our long experience of working in the industry and knowing where the different interconnections are, trying to help you maximize the outcome while minimizing the administrational burden, because in our opinions, artists should be able to concentrate on their creative work, really.
Cool. Next question. Oh, we have room. Okay. More questions related to this. Okay. What are you struggling most with in the everyday when you deal with digital platforms to release your music, get your music out on Spotify, Apple? What is the main issue you find yourself in trouble with?
Careful, looks dangerous.
All right. So I think it's actually, just making sure that it's actually right, the entry data that we actually put in. I think this is with GEMA mostly. I haven't tried MusicHub. And then if it's registered in Germany, but what if I want to do sync deals outside of Germany or in the United States or North America as a whole? I think that all this administration stuff, I find myself very lost in all the data and all the stuff I need to fill out for my artist. I'm an artist manager, so yeah. I think this is, and maybe someone to just talk to, yeah.
I think that's a very valid point. I hand over to you in a second, Nick. It's so easy to get music out worldwide on Spotify and then see streams and Spotify for artists, and then you see it. But there are other income streams, and those are the ones we are actually focusing on. That's we said, okay, first thing we will just get away with the basic distribution to Spotify, which is not that easy, but we get it done. But next steps then, Nick.
Well, I mean, I was just going to quickly go to having someone to talk to. We do have a great customer support team. I'm also a member of it. But my background also is in rights administration and income tracking, where it was really important that all this data was actually correct. And so we've also tried to write as many different articles as possible to make sure that all users are actually properly informed about it, because that was also one thing from my experience, is that it is very often the case that why things are done a certain way or which metadata has to go somewhere, it is really quite simple. It's just usually hidden behind the wall of industry knowledge and bigger labels. But so we're trying to do as much as possible to really simplify that. And you can always also send us a message before. We'll take a look at it. We also will do Zoom calls, any of that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And maybe to add to your question about the international exploitation, all of the collecting societies, they do have reciprocal agreements with each other. So if you register your work in Germany with with GEMA, they have a deal with let's say SACEM for France that allows SACEM to represent all of the works in the territory of France and collect the money from the actual users, whether that's radio or event promoters, and then they will pay that to GEMA, and it will be paid via GEMA to you. Now that's the theory. The reality is that in the past, the exchange of data to be able to match those users to the actual owners, you can imagine, pre-digital, this was a very daunting task. And I think the collecting societies have made huge efforts to improve that. So there's a joint database for all of the works that the collecting societies share, so that, in this example, SACEM has immediate access to everything that's been registered at GEMA, and even coming to the source of the money. In the past, the radio stations, they used to hand in written playlists that very often this was the task given to the intern. So was this always properly done? So now this is very much also digitized. There are like service providers that work for the collecting societies, but also the radio stations. They actually have fingerprinting technology, so like Shazam, but on a bigger scale. They track all of the channels, and they have huge databases of fingerprints for the tracks, so that they can immediately, automatically and correctly match every radio play on every terrestrial, digital, even online radio channel, and make sure that that money that the radio station pays arrives in the bank account of the rightful owner of that work that was being played. And this is something that we are already supporting in MusicHub, in this idea of like the Swiss Army knife. The next kind of tool that we've attached is something called sound file upload. And it's a way to actually bring your sound file, your WAV file of your recording, to the GEMA database, where these monitoring service providers can create a fingerprint and then track the German radio stations, but also the radio stations abroad. So that's something that's happening, and where you as an artist have to do a little bit of support to actually enable that, and we try to make it easy in MusicHub.
And something to add to that?
Also a question from the audience, but please go on, and then Yeah? 1 second. Now it's gone. No, don't worry.
I just add one thing while you find the question. The collecting societies are focused on distributing very accurately, but they need their time. And at the same time, we know that digital platforms feed back information immediately. Like you can see things just the day after or 2 days later. And so what we want to also provide is a view on those trends that happen, telling you this is a trend. We are used to seeing trends. We understand one thing is trends, the other one is the part of the money. While collecting societies have been focused on paying out accurately and take their time, we are getting impatient because we want to see results immediately. And this is kind of a gap between what we see, what we expect to see, and what comes in later. And there's a gap which in the recording industry has been covered. We had to cover that very soonish because we were getting trends information and we were paying out monthly. So kind of that gap was shorter, and people expected us to respond immediately to what was happening on the market. So again, an interesting bridge there. And now we get the question.
Thank you. So Gerd is asking, for the case that an artist has an artist ID at Spotify or the artist profile on Apple Music or Spotify and wants to release his future music with MusicHub, is it possible to provide this artist ID to MusicHub to make sure that the music will appear under this already existing artist ID, artist profile? Beautiful question.
So what you can always do is you can always send that to us if you're worried about it, or if it's a common artist name. We will then get in touch with our technical partner and make sure it is delivered to that. At the same time, we are currently working on an integration for you then to be able to add your IDs from Apple Music or Spotify directly into the release flow, and that way you'll just never have to worry about that. But, yeah.
And the answer is yes, please, dear artists, do that.
Yeah.
It helps a lot.
Yeah, it's actually a feature that's being tested as we speak and rolled out once the tests are successful. So yeah, it's something we've worked on, and it's an important topic because this is also what you mentioned in your speech. Have ownership of your digital identities.
I think.
Time's up.
If yes, you wanted to say something more?
If
Anything
anybody
to add?
has any further questions?
Please.
Thank you
It's
very
better
much.
to not touch it. Thank you.
No, my question would be, because you mentioned what are the struggles as an artist, and I'm an artist DIY myself, and I have it's like a fictitious label name just to have a name when it appears on the streaming services now. And my gap is the promotion, because I believe it's most of everybody's gap as a do-it-yourself artist now. And is there any tools that MusicHub is working for helping our Zebralution? Because I already distributed music with you guys with other labels. So how this promotion thing is being treated?
This will sound silly because for every question that we get, we tell you, yeah, it's exactly what we're working on. And yes, it's exactly what we're working on. Because this has really been the feedback from a lot of the beta testers. Some of them, they have a career or have had a career with like major labels or independent labels that took care of their repertoire. They had a couple of productions in their drawer, and they said, yeah, great idea, I'll try this out, I'll put it out there, and wow, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In 10 minutes, my stuff is submitted, and the next day it's live on Spotify. That's great, but what then? And I guess if any of us had the one answer that works for everything and makes every artist a superstar, then maybe we wouldn't be here. We would be counting our royalties in the back of our limos. I think there are a lot of things that you can do. Our big priority, for Q4, the fourth quarter of this year, is to do a discovery project on, what are the promo tools that can help you reach your fans, your existing ones, but also gain new fans. And again, we're doing this very user research centric. So if you're interested, I would invite you to get in touch and maybe be part of that user research discovery project where we try to come up with the answers for what are the tools that could work for emerging artists.
And if you want to look over your left shoulder, you find our user research, yeah? Connor in the room.
So we've got you cornered here.
Cool. And then one marketing information.
First of all, please acknowledge the fanboy mode in which this corner is with our MusicHub scarf. But yeah, also as part, we are out of beta now and we're open to all GEMA members, but we're also, for GEMA members anyways, no monthly fees. But if you want to join MusicHub in the future, we're opening to all musicians soon. And we have a special Most Wanted Music offer for you. So if you come to our booth, we can get you a voucher, and then you can just use it for 3 months for free, and then try out and also kind of be a second beta tester, let's say that, as the non-GEMA musicians for us, or also if you're a GEMA member, and use all that features and provide special feedback to Connor, but to all of us, so that we can really enhance our platform according to your needs and your feedback. That's one of the most important aspects of MusicHub. Yeah.
Pamela is putting her foot down already. There's a second session later in the afternoon, so
4:20 we're having another on-site session just at the atelier. I think it's just above.
So thank you very much, MusicHub, for the beautiful workshop.